slightly more advanced trig problems, okay? So, let's take a look at this first example here. So we've got a flagpole at the top of a building, right? And 300 feet from the base of the building, we have an angle of elevation of 32 degrees. Notice that, all right, that arc means it's that whole angle, okay? And the angle of elevation of the bottom of the pole is 30 degrees, okay? Up to the bottom of the pole, which is the top of the what? Building, okay? Determine the length of the flagpole to the nearest foot, okay? So, the length of the flagpole. So, let me do this. It's all perpendicular, isn't it? Okay? How many right triangles do we have in this problem? 2, don't we? Don't we have this one? And this one. Right? 2 right triangles, everybody with me? Okay? And they want the height of what exactly? The flagpole. Anybody think of a way with those 2 triangles to get the height of that flagpole?
You could find the whole side of the big triangle and then part of it on the other one that's subtracted.
You see what she said there? So if we just start with the bigger triangle, right, and get this distance here, I don't know why it's green. Make it my standard color. From here, why? That, let's, that, and then that, and that. Okay, that better do it. There we go. From here to here, let's call that X. Okay? You with me? Now, this is a triangle here. Can we use this triangle in here for trig? Why not? It's not a right triangle, right? Okay? So we only have the 2 right triangles to work with. Whoops. So the other thing we could find would be this distance from here to here, isn't it? Maybe I'll call that Y. You with me on that? And if I can solve the big triangle for X, you guys know it because we just did a bunch of that, didn't we? That's simple, isn't it? And then solve the little triangle for Y, then what would be this distance here? Wouldn't that just be X minus Y at the end? You just get, so really, you just have 2 right triangles that you know how to solve for. You get the big one, which is the whole height of the building and the flag together, and the smaller one, which is just the building. If you want the flag, you do the whole thing, which I labeled X. You label whatever you like. Minus the small of the building, which I labeled Y. You guys got me on that? Okay. So let's take the big one. How would we find X? Forget this little one's even there. What's the angle here for the big triangle? 32. So what trig, that's 300, right? So what trig function would we use here? Tangent of 32 equals X over, okay. And we could solve that, couldn't we, for the height X? Because we've done a million of those, right? And now let's go to the little triangle. What's the angle in the little triangle for the building? So what would be the equation for the little triangle, for the height of the building? Okay, and you solve for Y, and then to get the flagpole, just subtract them. So I said this is advanced. You guys get it. It's not. It's just 2 triangles now. That's all it is, right? And they do that all day. So what they did is they broke it up into 2 triangles, okay? So they did the first one, which is the whole thing. Oh, good. I labeled it the same way they did. All right. So they did a tan of 32 to get the whole, this is the building and the flagpole together, okay? And they got the 2 of them together is 187.46 feet, right? Now they said round to the nearest foot, right? So they're staying out a couple decimals past that till the very end. You all got that, right? Okay? And then they did just the height of the building. Tan of 30 is Y over 300. They got Y at 173.21. So this is, both of them, this is just the building. And how do we find the flagpole? 187 minus 173. The flagpole is 14.25 feet. And they didn't round correctly, did they? It didn't say the nearest foot. What did it say? The nearest foot. They're idiots. Okay? You get the idea? So you're going to have two right triangles. Okay? Two right triangles. And you know how to use them with the trig. Right? You're generally going to find one, find the other, and subtract them. Okay? Or something like that. So here we go. You guys are going to take a moment now. How many understand that first one? Raise your hand. No, Charlie? All right, Charlie, hang on. Let's see. Let's go back here. Do you see this right triangle here, which gives us the height of both the building and the flagpole, right? Yeah. So I could find that height. I put an X. That's X, okay? You can find that, right? All right. Now, here's the other right triangle. That's just the height of the what? Okay, the building. You could find this, couldn't you? Okay, right? And if I have the big one and this little one and I subtract them, won't just the flagpole be left? You get it now? Okay. All right. I think you got it before and you said you did. You just toying with me? All right. Okay. Let's get that out of there. Okay. Get it out of the way. Whatever. Next time. Okay. So now we know how to do that. Go down here, read this, set it up and kind of label it like I did up there. You can use X and Y or maybe something else that makes sense if you want, okay? But I'm going to give you guys a minute to set this up. I'm going to go ahead and label it up while I'm waiting for you guys. All right, guy X. I'll call this Y, like that. And then this distance will be X minus Y. So we'll go after X first, maybe the height of both the cliff and the lighthouse together, right? So the angle is what, 21? And what's the trig function? So we'll do tangent of 21 degrees, right? Equals X over 300. So X equals, if I multiply 300 by both sides. What's that?
115.15.
Run that correctly. Now 0.1, what was after that 5? Right, so I kept it as 3. I kept it like that. Either way, you still fine, right? So we got that. I'll just pull a box around that so I know when I come, you know, what I'm looking for when I come back to it. Not the final answer, right? Then circle it. Now for just the height of the cliff, I'm using the 18 degrees, right? So now that's opposite adjacent again. So it's a tangent again. Tangent of 18 degrees equals Y over 300. So Y equals 300 tangent of 18 degrees. And you should have gotten 97.476. Right? Or 97.48. Okay? And so now I just subtract them, right? So my X minus Y equals 115.159 minus 97.476. And that equals approximately 18 feet. And that's the answer I circled. All right, real good on that one? Okay. Now, these next two, a couple of years ago, the Regents decided to eliminate the last problem. There was supposed to be 36 problems on the exam. Number 36 was like wrestling a bear, okay? And they found out that that was just too outrageous and ridiculous, so they got rid of number 36s. And so we will actually not do this.
Was that number 36?
This, well, it's one that would be kind of like another. Then they would be slightly more complicated than this, but this is the setup to learn how to do like a number. If they had a trig problem that was number 36, it'd be similar to this. And yeah, so we'll not do that, okay? So really, the two we did on the first page are kind of what you need to know. And you might have, so there might be different size. It might not just be the height, right? It might be maybe the distance from a boat to the cliff, you know? So two triangles, okay? So given that, let's take a look at some of these Regents questions. So if you're comfortable with the two we just did, this has got just a slight little change to it, but it's going to work the same, okay? You're going to have two right triangles, right? Okay? For which you can find some missing lengths and perhaps subtract to get what they're after. Right, so I'll give you a minute, read it over. I'm going to go ahead and get it labeled up here. So, call that distance X. Maybe I'll call this distance here Y. And they want how far the ship traveled, so I'll call this X minus Y. Does your setup look a little like what I have here? All right. Well, wonderful. Let's see then. So, address for 7. So. Three. You guys get 1018.2043 for one of them, the big one?
Yeah.
No? Did you use that equation? Okay. Opposite over adjacent, right? And then for the other one, let's see. Smaller triangle. $435.927. 435.927.
Yes.
Okay. So then the distance traveled is just X minus Y, right? So X minus Y equals 1018.043 minus this guy, 435.927. So X minus Y equals approximately, we get 582 feet. And we got 582. All right. Anybody get lost in this? Need an explanation? Charlie, what are you doing there? Okay. What's that? Okay. All right. All right. I thought that was a new way to sit. Okay. Let's skip number 2 then. All right. So we're all good on this one? Skipping this one. Let's move on to number 3. Read it over. So it's going to be just a little bit different, okay? A little bit different, but again, you've got two right triangles, okay? And you'll have to work around them.
Is this something near the test?
Any Regents questions are fair game for our test, yes. Yep. But you're handling it fine, right? Yeah. We have to also, what do you hope? Did you get that last one right?
No, I'm hoping I would have a 1 on test.
Okay.
So,
All right. We might start out, they want the distance from the campsite to the tower, right? So that's right here. Everybody agree? So maybe I'll call that X. Right? Maybe I'll highlight the two triangles we have. So X, part of our big right triangle, isn't it? And then we have this other right triangle, highlight a slightly different color here. That So there's not enough information in the big right triangle to solve with your trigonometric functions, right? Would it be possible then to use the smaller right triangle to fill in that information? Do the triangles not share something? Follow me? They share a side, don't they? Okay. This side is X, the thing we want, and then I called this Y, right? Because I'm thinking I kind of need this side because both of them share that. And if I get that side, I've got it for the big triangle too to do trig on, okay? So how did I get Y? And I'm using the little triangle. Here's the angle 72. There's 400, right? So opposite adjacent, that's going to be what? So tangent of 72 degrees equals Y over 400, right? So I get 400. Yeah, that's not what I get. I get Y equals 400 tan 72 degrees. And I got, what did I get? I got 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1.073. Okay? So let's keep that. And I'll even go put it in my diagram. 1, 2, 3, 1.073. So I think it's helpful if you put that back in your diagram if you're going to use it again, then it's more clear, you know, when you go on to the next thing. Now, I've got this angle 55. I've got that side. X is my hypotenuse in the big one, so I'm moving to the big triangle, okay? So I got 55 opposite and hypotenuse, different trig function now. What is it? What is it? Sine. So the sine now of 55 degrees in the big one equals that 1,231.073 over X. So you see, but you guys, my way is a little shorter than yours, right? Go ahead. Opposite over hypotenuse.
Okay.
I'm in the big triangle now. Opposite hypotenuse and sine.
I didn't change it to the opposite.
Well, because, yeah, you were trying to find this.
Yeah.
So that would be tangent. Opposite over adjacent. You found that whole side and then Pythagorean theorem after that. Right? So switch them because X is in the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 1.073 over the sine 55 degrees. And I got, oh, and that's where I round. So this is my final 1,503 feet. Okay? And then I round it.
I put one on top of it.
Yeah, it's all it takes is that one wrong number. And this is probably, probably a 4-pointer, so it'd be minus 1 calculation. Okay? Any questions on this one? Let's go to number 4. Number 4. Read it, label it, solve it. And please note, always note, remember, you don't have to take the Regents, I guess, but on the Regents exam, if you do a rounding error, it's minus 1, okay? And it goes like, sometimes it's a 2-point problem, and you round to the nearest hundredth. You did all the work correctly and round to the nearest hundredth of the 10th. That's minus 1 out of 2. What percentage is that? 50% for a rounding error. Sweet 3. So, okay. Do this one. Now listen, you might be tempted in this one to go right after theta there as if it's in a right triangle. It is not in a right triangle. So at the point we're at with trigonometry, we cannot do anything with theta directly with trigonometry. Okay? We have what?
I mean, you could, but not that angle.
Right, that's what I mean. That's not a right angle right here, so we can't do our normal stuff, trig with it. Later on in the different course, there will be another way to attack that, but not now. So I might label mine like this. Call this, oops. labeled mine. Mine has something slightly different, but you can all still get there. You all agree with what I wrote up there, the way I labeled it? If you use different letters, put them in different spots, you're fine. It's not like you have, if you use A and B, or you have X and Y switch where I have, it, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, just keep working with it, right? It'll still work. All right, so if we can find the big angle, which I've labeled as X, and then the small angle, which I'm calling Y, then if we subtract them, that'll give us what's left for theta, right? So what we need then for the big triangle is this entire side, do we not? So that's 72. There, that explains your discrepancy then, okay? So that would be, like on the Regents exam, that would be just like a calculation error to -1, so no big deal, all right? So let's go, I'm gonna go after angle X here, okay? So I've got opposite and adjacent, wouldn't that be tangent?
Yeah.
So tangent, in my case, of X equals 72 over 75. So I'm trying to find an angle. What am I using? Inverse tangent, right? And it better look like this. So
I
the,
actually did it like that.
good. So the tangent of X equals the inverse tangent of,
Exactly like this.
wonderful. Well, then you are just like me, just short. Okay? That's okay. Believe me, being tall is not an advantage in my life anymore. It used to be. That was just a pain in the angle side.
Hey, at least we reached the top shelf.
I can. And that's what makes it a pain, because like when Mrs. Shaw was here, you know how short she was? Remember her? Always, Mr. Henry, can you come over and get this off the shelf for me? Whatever.
Why did you have a stool?
That's what I always wanted to do. All right, so we got X equals, let's see here,
I did something.
43.8309.
This count was
Okay, I love his self-diagnoses. Okay, so that's that angle.
What did I do on there?
I don't know.
Oh, that-
Now I'm going to find Y. Opposite, adjacent, 12 and 75 now, right? So tangent of angle Y equals 12 over 75. We'll do the inverse tangent of both sides. So that gives us Y is about 9.0903 degrees. Okay? And I'll just like, I like to buy, when I find partial answers, I like to put a box around it so when I go back to use them, I can spot them immediately, right? All right, so now theta, very simply, is just X minus Y. 43.8309 minus 9.0903. So theta is approximately equal to 34.7 degrees. Okay? Any questions on this one? You guys have messed it up there? You see where you went sideways maybe? Okay? Then you got lucky. You got lucky. All right, we're gonna do one. We're gonna do one. We're gonna skip number 4 or 5. Let's go to number 6. Okay. Let's do number 6. And then we'll. We already gave you an X, right? What? Well, I'm just gonna put my labels on. So maybe I'll call this distance here Y. And the whole thing's kind of awkward, so I don't know. Maybe I'll call the whole thing Z.
That's what I did.
All right. Well, you guys are just like me.
Actually, no,
Congratulations.
I didn't do that.
I got
That's what I do.
Yeah, technically.
So 100 is the correct answer. Okay, we're going after X. So from the way I've labeled it, X will end up equaling Z minus Y, right? The whole big one minus the little one. So let's find Z. So Z's in the big one. That's the big 38 point. I wish they'd have put that here, but that's kind of weird. But anyway, so 38.8, we got opposite adjacent. Trig function is that right? If by sine you mean tangent, you're right on the money. Did you use sine?
I'm so bad at this.
Wait, you said you got 100? You used sine?
No, she got 178.
Oh, well all right. We found the issue. Tangent of 38.8 equals Z over 440.
Right.
440 tan of 38.8. So the Z, as I have it labeled, is 353.769, right? I'll box that in so I can come back to it. And now I'll find my Y. So that's again tangent, but with 30 degrees now, right? So tangent of 30 degrees equals Y over 440. So Y equals 440 times tangent 30 degrees. And for Y, we should get 254.034.
Yes.
Okay? And to find X, again, it's just Z minus Y. Okay? So X is going to be 353.769 minus 254.034. X will equal approximately 100 feet.
Well, the answer 20.
I did that so wrong.
Okay? And that's that.